FBI Director Christopher Wray says the war has made it a dangerous time, but it wasn't the Middle East that got him and 4 other top intelligence leaders together in one room on camera. It was China. The group, known as Five Eyes, sat down with 60 Minutes.
The People's Republic of China represents the defining threat of this generation and this era. There is no country that presents a broader, more comprehensive threat to our ideas, our innovation, our economic security, and ultimately our national security. When people talk about stealing innovation or intellectual property, that's not just a Wall Street problem. That's a Main Street problem. That means American jobs, American families, American livelihoods, and the same thing for every one of our 5 countries.
This is not just about government secrets or military secrets. It's not even just about critical infrastructure. It's about academic research in our universities. It's about promising startup companies. People, in short, who probably don't think national security is about them.
Essentially what you have with the Chinese government is the autocracy and oppressive regime of East Germany combined with the cutting-edge technology of Silicon Valley.
And let's bring in Alan Kohler. He's the former assistant director of the FBI's Counterintelligence Division and president of Premier Consulting. Last year, Director Wray and his UK counterpart in MI5 issued a rare joint statement about China. Now all 5 are making it to a show. What do you make of the fact that they're sending this message in this extremely public way?
Well, thanks, John, for having me. I think this is a very historic event to have all the intelligence heads together. When you think about the origins of the Five Eye relationship dating back to the early 1940s, it's grown. These individuals meet on a regular basis. We have officers in each other's countries. And I was actually involved in planning the joint statement by the Director General and the Director last year. But to have all 5 of them step out today for the first time in over 90 years and make a statement, and the fact that it's the threats from China, it just shows to you and the viewers that how significant the threat from China really is.
And Alan, help us understand, is it the size of the threat? In other words, they're hitting at us in every possible different way. Is it their technological sophistication, or is it their motivation, which is a grand ambition, which is worrisome?
Well, I think if you think about a threat as being the combination of intentions and capabilities, China is clear about their intentions. They want to be the world's only superpower by 2049, by mid-century, and it's going to come at our expense. And they're putting an incredible amount of resourcing towards that, using all their instrumentalities of national power, from their intelligence services, their diplomats, their economy, et cetera. And don't forget, this is a country of over 1 billion people, 1.4 billion people. So the amount of resources they can put towards this is massive. So when their military or their cyber actors steal information, they have a massive economy that can actually take advantage of it in an industrial base that can make these things in a way that no other country could do.
So now that everybody's got their heads up about this, is there a solution?
Well, I mean, the solutions are hard, and people have been struggling to find a way around this to address this for a long time. I think there's a couple things we need to consider. One is awareness. People just need to be aware of what the threat is and how China is going to come after them. Back in January, we had the spy balloon that floated over middle America, and people could look up and see China spying at them. But often the things that the Five Eye heads were talking about this week are not something that's going to be obvious to the average American. Companies need to educate themselves. For example, there's a Made in China 2025 plan that lists the technologies that they want to dominate the world in by mid-century. And if your technology is on that, you need to take appropriate steps to protect your people, information, and intellectual property, because China has put a big bullseye on it. And then finally, I would just say that people need to insist on equality and reciprocity in their engagements with and business dealings. Now, too often companies and our leaders are put in a position where we have to make a decision between profits and our values.
Let me
sorry, go ahead.
Last question, which is, what about one of Xi Jinping's aims is to make the case that the Chinese system is better than the American system or the system in the West. As he seeks to make that What does what's happening in the House of Representatives mean in that context when he's trying to make a case against the ability of the West to, as a vision for a better alternative to the West?
Sure. Well, I think the CCP, I think we need to differentiate China from the Chinese Communist Party. And the Chinese Communist Party sees democracy as an absolute threat to its existence in the future. When you think about our free and fair speech, civil liberties, democracy, if those things were embraced inside China, there wouldn't be room for the Chinese Communist Party. So they look to demean and show the flaws within the democratic systems all around. So absolutely what's happening inside the House right now is a big talking point for an internal audience inside China.
Alan Kohler, former FBI Assistant Director of the Counterintelligence Division. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.